Okay, this is our next episode of True Wrestling Fans Discussions, top 10 matches for certain wrestlers. This week we're going to be going over Bret Hart, but as Bret Hart is my favorite wrestler and the guy's got too many great matches, I did a top 20. So this might be the only time we do a top 20.
I don't know. We might get a couple of guys, depending on their careers, that get 30 or 50 if you go to the Undertaker.
Yeah, or Adam Bomb.
That's like a top three. If you're
Yeah,
lucky, if you can find three.
Jesus Christ.
Leave my guy alone,
Yeah.
man. Do a
All right.
do a Jeff Jarrett one.
Yeah, seriously. All right, so from like 11 to 20, it's not really in an exact order per se. I didn't want to repeat wrestlers in the top 10. So you're gonna see guys that you're gonna see matches that maybe should actually rank higher in a lot of people's opinion, but I put them just so I didn't repeat certain guys in the top 10. So just so you guys know. Um, so we're gonna go to number 20, which is gonna be Ric Flair versus Bret Hart in Canada for
Shatoon.
for the WWF Championship. Bret Hart's first title victory. This should have been on a pay-per-view, but for whatever
Yes.
reason, they did it in Canada. And
Even a Monday Night Raw.
yeah, I don't know.
Televise it. I mean, later it came out on a tape or whatever it was,
Hmm.
but I mean, you just you tune in the following week and find out that Ric Flair is no longer the champion and it's Bret Hart, and everybody's like, wait, what? Savage and him were just fighting for the title, and now all of a sudden it's Bret.
No, it's Bret. Yeah,
Like, where'd he come from?
it just came out of nowhere. They just completely pivoted out of nowhere. But Bret got his title win. I thought the match was good. It wasn't. I didn't think it was great. Now behind the scenes, um, Ric Flair supposedly had some equilibrium problems because he said that Ultimate Warrior during some sort of a house show, Warrior dropped him on his head, and he
No.
had very bad vertigo and he was dizzy, and so
Yeah, I
that's
remember the story.
Bret Hart says that's BS, and he says that he felt that Flair was trying to sandbag him and make him look bad. So
Well, by this point, Flair is being told he's got to drop the title because they're not renewing his contract and they're doing a
right,
youth movement.
yeah.
And take what the man says with a grain of salt. And he's a huge veteran who's probably a little bitter. So I mean, who knows?
Yeah, so who knows what the truth is? That's why this
Either
match.
way, Brett's walking out the champion, so it don't
Yeah,
matter.
yeah. So Brett got the victory, his first time.
Exactly.
So that's all that matters.
Uh huh.
All right. So no, now number 19. Okay, this is going to be Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart, but this is their famous ladder match. That was a Coliseum home video exclusive.
Yes.
Again, this should have been a
This was
pay.
a good one.
Yeah, this should have been a pay-per-view, I think. But the problem
Yes.
was, I guess they had never done a ladder match in WWE, and so they were kind of testing it out. So I think they didn't have confidence that they
Well,
could
just
just.
like the Iron Man matches, they didn't.
Mhm,
They were doing those. The Rockers and the Rougeos were doing it on house shows, testing those out because they had
mhm.
never done them before. It's a shame though because this match was really good and
Yeah,
definitely deserved a pay per view.
yeah, and it was Bret Hart's idea. So Bret Hart is the one who brought the ladder match into WWE.
Who got it on pay per
Yeah,
view?
but Sean, of course, gets the
Thank you.
he gets the credit. But yeah, great match. And I spoke about this in another video where a friend of mine told me about this. This is after I had already seen the ladder match between Bret and Razor. A
Mhm.
friend of mine in school told me, Bret had a ladder match with Shawn Michaels, and he told me the name of the video, and I went to the video store and I rented it and saw it, and it was really good.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't know about it until after the fact. So you have to go back and look at it
Hmm.
unless you happen to be there the night of the house show that you got to see this.
Yeah, or you rented all
Mhm.
those Coliseum home videos, and so you knew about it.
Which, if you were like me, I rented all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, every one of them
Mhm.
I watched. Some of them were good, some not.
Yeah. All right, so number 18. Okay, Bret Hart versus The Undertaker. This is their Royal Rumble 1996 match.
This was a good one.
Yeah, this is when I believe Undertaker still had the mask.
Hmm.
I think he was still wearing the mask. Yeah, this was a great match. Good build up. Undertaker was at the top of his game. Bret was at the top of his game.
So
Um,
you couldn't have a winner.
no, yeah. That's the only unfortunate thing
Was
was.
Diesel's interference?
Yeah, and remember they were heading in. The plan for WrestleMania was Bret versus Shawn,
Hmm.
so that's why we got what we got. And then Undertaker was going to pivot into his feud with
With Diesel, yeah.
with Diesel. So I just thought this was a great match. I mean, the ending wasn't.
I mean, it had to be that way so both guys save face. I mean, I can understand it. It was otherwise. I mean, it was a great match. I mean, think about it. One of the first guys to get in the ring with the Undertaker ever at Survivor Series 1990 was Bret Hart.
Mm-hmm.
So, and even then he looked good in the ring with him. So this match in '96 was definitely good. I wasn't disappointed at the outcome because you look back at it now and realize again both have to save face going into their feuds coming up. So I mean, both guys in my book came out on top of this one, both as winners.
Yeah, absolutely. So number 17. Okay, this is going to be Bret versus Diesel. Then this is the Royal Rumble in 1995. So this was another great match.
Yes.
I think some people say this is one of Diesel's best matches in his career. It's definitely up there.
In WWE, yes.
And it was
him against Bret and Shawn that year.
They always had great, Bret always had, because Bret always told that David versus Goliath story, which was really cool. They used to always say like, oh, Bret has if Diesel's down on the mat, Bret has the advantage, but if Diesel's standing up, Diesel has the advantage. So they always had that cool storyline going. Good build up too, because at the time Bret had lost the title a few months earlier to Bob Backlund through controversy, because Owen gives the title to his mother throws it in the ring, so Bret never actually quit. Diesel ends up beating Bob Backlund like a few days later for the title.
In 8 seconds.
Yeah, so Diesel gave him the title shot, like, listen, you got jobs out of it, I'm going to give you the title shot.
You deserve it, so let's go.
Again,
it was a good match, and again, both had to save face. Yeah. Diesel had to come out on top, so you got... I don't know where Jarrett comes into the whole mix, but I can understand Shawn and Backlund coming out. I just, at one point when Jarrett shows up, I'm like, what the hell are you doing here? I'm like, what? Go away.
Who knows?
Nobody wants you here. And then it's funny because during the whole thing, all of a sudden you see Backlund waddling over trying to get the chicken wing on Bret again, which is god awful. I mean, but the match itself, up until all the run-ins, was great. These two did put on this was better than the Survivor Series one by far. And like again,
I actually have, spoiler alert, I have Survivor Series over this, but.
Okay. Yeah. Well, then Bret actually comes out on top of that one, so I can see why.
Yeah. So
where this was ruled, I think they ruled it a no contest.
I think it was right, double DQ and no contest, something like that.
Yeah, because of all the run-ins, they couldn't keep it. But it was a good match.
All right, so number 16. Okay, number 16 was that Fatal 4-Way, the famous Fatal 4-Way match at In Your House. This was after the whole Royal Rumble disaster.
Title vacants, yes.
Yeah, it was
the Royal Rumble type match.
Yeah, it was Vader,
Austin, Taker, Bret, the last 4 in the Rumble. Yeah. Which it could have just been a Fatal 4-Way, but I mean the whole Royal Rumble stipulation, I didn't like that. But the match itself was great.
Yeah, so it was a great match. It was probably one of the better of those like 4-way matches,
See, you can thank Shawn for losing his smile. We got a great main event at In Your House in February.
Yeah. So.
And Bret walks away with the championship.
Yeah, there you go. Can't go wrong.
Just to lose it the night after.
All right. Yeah. All right. So number 15. Okay, so this is it's a British Bulldog match, but this is In Your House. This is in 95. I think it was Season's Beatings, I think it was called.
Yeah, in December,
Yeah. I think that was the name of the pay-per-view. I think this is an underrated match.
It was.
Very underrated match. Mm-hmm. This is when Bret had just won the title the month before. So Bret was defending the title against Bulldog, and it was a really, really good match, man.
It was.
Really good match.
I liked it. It gave Bulldog an opportunity that he hadn't received before, and to show that he could be a main eventer. And unfortunately, his demons and whatnot, there was no way that they were going to let him run with the title. But he always held his own in the ring with Bret Hart. We saw that at SummerSlam. So, I mean, there was no question to give him the title shot, and these guys had a great match that night.
Yeah, absolutely. A shame that Bulldog gets these title matches with Bret and Shawn, and
nothing comes out of it.
Yeah, he's just a worker. He's just the guy to.
And then I think his last one was in 2000. He came back and got one, and it was like a fatal 6-pack challenge or some nonsense. But nothing came out of that for him, unfortunately, either.
No, unfortunately, yeah. So. Number 14. Okay, so Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. This is Survivor Series 1996. I thought this was
far down.
I thought this was an awesome match. The only reason I don't have it higher on the card is because the top 10 is basically like this different wrestlers. It's not there's no repeats. So
Okay.
I got Austin in there, just not.
Oh yeah, I know which one that is.
Yeah. So yeah, this was a great build. This was Bret Hart's comeback match. After his hiatus after WrestleMania. He had handpicked Stone Cold Steve Austin to be his opponent because he really admired his work and he wanted to wrestle with him. And Austin delivered.
Oh yeah, they both did in that ring.
Yeah.
And there was no ring rust on Bret whatsoever during the 7 months that he was out. So 7-8 months from WrestleMania. I mean, he looked great, like he never missed a beat. I mean, these guys just put on a clinic in the ring, and it was a sign of things to come for both of these guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just a tremendous match.
Yeah, absolutely. And I happened to be in the building that night, Survivor Series. So that's why it's
Nice.
yeah. Number 13 is the Owen Hart tribute match. It's Bret versus Chris Benoit, Monday Nitro. And unfortunately, Owen had passed, but this match, Bret and Benoit dedicated it to Owen, and even Bret commented after the match that he felt like Owen was watching them. Very emotional match, but just a great match. Great.
Yes, it was. I actually remember watching the whole thing on Nitro, which is not something I did at that point in '99.
Yeah, not in '99.
But I thought these two gave it their all. Benoit put his heart out there for Bret and just delivered. And remember these two, even fought at Mayhem again at the pay-per-view, and then just, I mean, if these two could have had a series of matches of a feud or anything at that timeline, it would have been awesome. But this particular match, they tore the house down in honor of Owen Hart. It was a really good match.
Great match. Okay, so number 12, this is going to be Mr. Perfect versus Bret Hart, SummerSlam 1991. This is Bret Hart's first Intercontinental Championship win. To give you guys a backstory, if you don't know, Mr. Perfect was badly injured prior to this match. His back was a mess. And he was friends with Bret Hart, and he, I guess he went to Vince and told him, look, I want to put Bret over, don't strip me or anything like that. I'll get through the match. We'll figure it out. And he did it as a favor to Bret. It was a great match. Could have been better, and we saw a better match later on. But it was great. I believe it was at Madison Square Garden. Bret's parents were in the crowd. And it's a big moment for Bret because this is a singles push.
Yeah.
After being a tag team wrestler for all those years, he finally gets his singles push. And you saw what he could do in the ring, and Perfect did the best that he could considering he was hurt. Great match. Bret puts him in the sharpshooter at the end. And the
old coach at ringside.
Yeah, which I didn't understand that. Why he was
Never,
there.
man.
Yeah, just fired. Did Bobby E fired him or he quit?
I've got the one on the Mr. Perfect episode that's coming up. I've got the info on that.
Okay. We'll get to that later on then. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so great match. Okay, number 11. This is going to be Bret versus Owen Hart, SummerSlam 1994 steel cage match. This is widely considered one of the best steel cage matches of all time.
And it was match of the year.
I mean, you could have. I mean, this could be higher on the list. The only reason it's not higher on the list, like I said, when I made my top 10, I didn't want to repeat wrestlers in the top 10, but it could definitely be up there. Obviously, a great build after Owen had just won the King of the Ring. He goes in. He had Jim Neidhart had joined him at that point. Then you had the return of the British Bulldog, who was in the crowd.
Yeah, climbing up the cage and stuff. My God, all the hearts going nuts. This was a great match. Yeah,
and I mean, I've never been too big a fan of a steel cage match, but this is one of the best ones. I mean, those two guys, and Bret had said in his documentary how he was so protective of Owen because that was his brother, that the spots that they were doing in there, he just was extra careful because that was his brother and he was going to take care of him, and they tore the house down, man. I mean, Owen, we've talked about this, man. Maybe they should have gave Owen that one. Even if he wasn't going to hold on to the title long, maybe they should just given him that one.
It could have been a month. It could have been he comes back on Raw and loses it back to his brother on a house show. They've done that before.
Yeah.
But at least give the guy his acknowledgement and give him the accolade of being the champion. He beat his brother again. I mean, I think I would have done it.
I think the reason why they didn't is because he had already beat Bret once. So if you beat Bret again, it just looks bad. Like, wow, this guy's better than Bret, and they're pushing him.
in certain ways, Owen was.
Only the high flying stuff. Only the high flying stuff. You go. That's.
I mean, you could debate. We can go back and forth and debate as far as
Yeah.
who was better between the two, but in some aspects they're equal. But I think ultimately maybe Owen was better than him in the ring. I mean, who knows? That's definitely an argument anybody can make.
Yeah, I mean, but at that point, the direction they were going in, I could understand why they didn't do it because that would have been back-to-back losses. So it brings Bret down. But either way, it was a great match and one of the best.
Well, then the Survivor Series, then Backlund should have been out of there and Owen should have been in it. I mean, we've discussed that before.
Yeah,
where Owen at some point should have been the champion.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, now we're in the top 10. So this is going to be Bret Hart versus the 1-2-3 Kid, July 1st, 1994, Monday Night Raw. Great technical matchup.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys haven't seen this match, please watch the match. I might be on YouTube. I'm not sure, or you might have to go on Peacock.
You can go on the Monday Night Raw. I think they have just about all the episodes of Monday Night Raw on there now. And go to that date and watch this match. You are gonna be in awe.
Yeah, it's a great performance, and I love the way Bret was selling a lot of the stuff. Like 1-2-3 Kid, like kind of knocks him down and then does a pose, and then Bret's like, you see Bret nod, like okay, like as if to say, like I have to take this guy serious now.
On paper, you look at it and you're like, is Vince for real? This is gonna be your card tonight?
No, you wouldn't think. And I remember when they first announced it, I was like 1-2-3 Kid.
Yeah,
but
it's like I can't believe this. What is going on here?
But
I know Bret's a fighting champion, but this is ridiculous.
Yeah, but Sean Waltman, 1-2-3 Kid, I know he has what's called X-Pac heat.
Yeah,
which is like the worst kind of heat you could possibly have. But he was still a great performer in the ring. Mm-hmm. You couldn't take away from the stuff that he did in the ring, the technical capability
definitely
that he had, and it was cool that Bret was willing to have that match with him.
No, this was all pre-click or not full click yet. So
this is '94, so click wasn't really yet.
It wasn't a thing yet.
Full power yet. So all right,
but definitely a good match.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, number 9, Bret Hart versus Roddy Piper, WrestleMania 8.
Love this match.
Now, oh man, what can you say about this match? I mean, the psychology of this match.
There's nothing bad you could say about it. No. I'm sorry. It's just the leading up to it, the storyline, the interviews, the match itself. Everything was great about this.
Yeah. Little backstory to the match. Bret Hart had lost the title to the Mountie months earlier because he had a fever. And Piper beat the Mountie at the Royal Rumble, and then Piper gives Bret Hart the shot back at his title. And they had a history together, and they were cutting good promos, and the match was just tremendous, man. The story that they told, in the ring.
Yeah, I love the pre-match promo where they're interviewing himself. Piper's over there, and Miss Hart used to come down, used to make them sandwiches, and one piece of bologna, but it doesn't matter because you would tie bows in your shoes because you tie your shoes to you with 12. Doesn't matter. It was funny, and they kind of had Bret come off a little bit as a heel when he was coming to the ring because the fans weren't really cheering him as much because he gave off that vibe. But towards the end of the match, man, both these guys got a standing ovation. And the finish to this match was just amazing.
And Piper does some heel stuff in the match, but then you can see
sucker punch.
Yeah, you can see he's still good because he doesn't. I think there's a spot where he doesn't hit him with the belt. He was gonna hit him with the bell. I'm sorry, he had the bell. Yeah.
And Bobby Heenan's over there going, "What the hell? Use the bell."
Mm-hmm.
And he's thinking about it, but he doesn't do it because he realizes that's not me anymore.
Yeah.
And he has the sleeper hold on Bret, and Bret does that move and reverses it. First time we've ever seen that. Mm-hmm. It was classic. It was definitely a great match between the two of them. Absolutely. The highlight of Piper's career, in my opinion.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, number 8 is going to be Bret Hart versus Chris Benoit at Mayhem 1999. One of the only good things that came out of Bret Hart's WCW run.
Seriously.
One of their only good pay-per-views during that 99, 2000, 2001 end of WCW.
This was their best pay-per-view, in my opinion, by far. Great main event. These two. I mean, the whole card was loaded. And if they could have just use that as a stepping stone. Use this as a benchmark and go, okay, follow what we did here. And then no, they didn't do it. It was a one and done.
No, of course not. But this was the final.
Yeah.
So Bret Hart wins the WCW championship, his first championship in WCW. Only took 2 years.
Yeah, exactly.
So he got through it. Great match, and this was in Canada, right? I believe this was in Canada. Yeah. So okay, number 7, Bret Hart versus the Undertaker, SummerSlam, 1997.
We all know the outcome of that one.
Yeah, this was a great match. This is Heart and Soul.
Yes,
it's called Heart and Soul.
And the stipulations in this match, nobody remembers. If Bret couldn't win the title, he wouldn't wrestle on American soil ever again. If Shawn Michaels, as the referee, didn't call the match down the middle, he couldn't wrestle on American soil. Then the whole Bret going after Vince. Why is he involved in my match? Oh man! And then the spitting at Shawn. Shawn hits Taker with the chair. Has to count the 3. Oh man, that was a great match.
Yeah,
great storytelling on that one.
Tremendous. Okay, number 6 is Bret Hart versus Diesel, 1995. 1995 Survivor Series.
Yeah.
This is when Bret Hart was trying to regain his title, and Diesel was the champion, and
on a losing streak at this point too.
Yeah, he
had lost 2 matches in a row.
Yeah, well, 95 was a disaster for Bret.
One to Waylon Mercy, mind you.
Yeah,
he had lost a count out.
They weren't doing anything with Bret. So it was in 95, they weren't doing anything with him. So it was nice to see him get back into the main event.
They held him back enough.
Yeah.
I mean, it was almost a year.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Diesel, his babyface run didn't really work out the way they thought it was going to work out. He just was never a good babyface.
No. He would have been better as a heel.
Yeah. But they started to turn him heel. This was a great match, man. This was a very, very good match. Maybe one of Diesel's best matches, because anytime he got in the ring with Bret, it was one of his best matches. He even said so himself.
Yeah,
that he had great matches with Bret. A great story, and then the end of the match, Bret's before that he goes to the table.
Yes,
we hadn't seen that. That was something they took from ECW.
Yeah,
that was the beginning of the Spanish announce table being destroyed all the time, I think.
Why else have him there?
Yeah, and then he plays possum like he's hurt.
Oh yeah, he was always good at that.
Yeah, and then rolls
him up. And you see Diesel, you can read those lips when he sits up. And I'm like, whoa, what did you just say? He was pissed. And can you blame him? I mean, just the way it happened. It wasn't a sharpshooter, wasn't a finisher. I rolled you up in a cradle. And it was just great. And to be honest, I really thought they could have, even though Bulldog got the shot the next month, I really thought they could have did it one more time. Back to back instead of waiting till into 96, because by 96 you knew Diesel was not going to win the title, so there was no chance of him becoming champ again, where it might have been a little believable in 95. But I mean, otherwise the match was just great.
Yeah, no, great match, hands down. Okay, Bret Hart versus Mr. Perfect. This is the 1993 King of the Ring tournament match. Now, a lot of people have the previous match, the SummerSlam 91 match, over this just because it was for the title and Bret Hart won the match. But if you watch the match, this is actually the better match because Perfect was healthy. This is the
match we should have gotten 2 years earlier.
Yeah, because Perfect was healthy in this match. His back was healed. So they just put on a show, man. And, the promos backstage. And it's like, I owe you for SummerSlam, Bret. And my father beat your father, whatever. That whole thing.
Your father could never beat my father. Yeah. Oh yeah, here we go with that whole thing.
Yeah,
I remember that.
A great match, and Perfect was kind of like heelish, but he's still a baby face. And then Bret beats him, and then he just kind of like slaps his hand. It was really well done. He walks out. It's like he was pissed, but it's like he still acknowledges him.
Yeah.
So
he forgot there for a minute. Well, wait, I'm a fan favorite. I'm not a heel this time.
Yeah. So that was a great match. One of my favorites, hands down.
Of course, Bret shouldn't have been in that tournament, but I'm not getting into that again.
Yeah, well, that's a whole other story. Okay, number 4 is Bret Hart versus the British Bulldog, SummerSlam 1992, Wembley Stadium.
Great match.
Main event.
Despite the fact that he had to carry the Bulldog during the match because of everything going on, no need for the side stories on that one. I won't get into it. But, I mean, he did at some points he did have to carry him in the match, but they still put on a great spectacle. in the main event at Wembley Stadium. Even though Bret did not come out the winner, I think that was the start. Now, if you look back at it, you can see why he lost the title. Not only to pass the torch to the Bulldog in his home country, but to set him up for the main event status.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
obviously, you have to drop the Intercontinental title.
Now,
So it made sense.
Now, going into this for me, I mean, I guess because I was so young, I never thought like, oh, they're fighting in England, so Bulldog is beating him. I thought it was a 50-50. I didn't know who was going to win. I had no idea.
Honestly, I thought Bret was going to come away with it.
I was thinking it's probably going to be Bret because I knew how good Bret was, and at that point, I hadn't really bought into the British Bulldog as a singles competitor yet.
Especially when he had disappeared off of TV for a little bit,
right?
And now all of a sudden he had resurfaced, and they put him in the match with Bret.
Right.
That was a little confusing.
Right. And it was a good story with the sister, you know, because the sister was obviously married to the British Bulldog. Bret's sister was married to British Bulldog, and she was like in the middle of the two of them and didn't want them to fight. And I think Stu might have somehow been involved in this too. I don't know. Right? He didn't want them to fight either, I think.
Yeah,
because they were interviewing the families. Remember, they were interviewing them. One of his his brother Bruce that was like, "Yeah, Bret's very arrogant." You know, I think it was
Bruce always had an attitude. Anytime you interviewed him or whatever the case was, he always had that thing about him. I don't know.
Apparently, they had some problems. Because I think I don't want to get too sidetracked, but I think Bruce was the one that was supposed to fight Bret instead of Owen, right? Was it Bruce?
Yeah, they were thinking about putting Bruce Hart as the Rogue Hart at the Survivor Series, but at the last minute they decided to push Owen.
It was Bret that went to the office and said, "No, Owen has to be the guy. Owen has."
It made sense because Bruce wasn't even an active wrestler in WWE, and Owen was. And it was just he was going nowhere. Been there for a year and a half now, listed as Owen Hart, and they really did nothing with him.
Yeah.
So it made sense that it was Owen Hart and not Bruce.
All right, number 3. Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels Iron Man match, WrestleMania 12. Now, this was, man, the build up into this, man, when they were both training and Bret's in Canada and Shawn is down in Texas with Jose Lothario, and it's two guys, two baby faces. At that point, I believe they hadn't done babyface versus babyface for title since Warrior in 1990. I know they were very leery of doing something like that again.
And Patterson pushed for the stipulation on this forever. He told Vince, if any two guys can pull this off, it's those two.
Yeah.
And it took a lot of convincing, and Vince was not adamant about it. He was weary, and he gave in. He goes, all right, let's do it. And I'm glad they did, because what a match we got. And and no matter you won the match, you lost. They both came out winners.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
They both elevated their status even further.
Yeah. I mean, this was Shawn's push. Going into this, I knew they were pushing Shawn, but I still didn't know who was going to win, and I didn't know what Bret Hart's contract was like, so I didn't know that Bret was leaving either. Otherwise, I would have been like, "Oh, Bret's going to lose," but I didn't know. I had any of that information. So, Bret was my favorite wrestler, but I did like Shawn, so it wasn't like I hated Shawn. I mean, later on, I hate Shawn, but at this point, I still like Shawn, you know. So, great match. I remember I ordered this too. I remember this is one of the ones I paid for, instead of going to my friend's house to watch it on the hot box. But anyway, so yeah, and yeah, it was a great match. And 60 minutes, these guys did it. And it's tough to do a 60-minute match without losing the crowd and them getting bored, you know. But these guys pulled it off. It was like nonstop.
Well, remember, it was over 60 minutes now.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Because we had the overtime.
Which must be a winner.
Which is like. I guess that was planned. I don't know.
It was. This is part of the plan.
And Bret's getting all mad. Why do I got to do it? This match should be a draw. And there's no way a WrestleMania main event could be a draw. Come on.
Yeah, part of the story. Great story. And Shawn Michaels wins, of course.
Get your butt in there so he can super kick you.
Yeah. So great match. Okay, number 2. Now, number 1 and number 2 are kind of interchangeable. Either way, you can't go wrong with these matches. These are two of the greatest matches probably in the history of professional wrestling, as far as I'm concerned, at least. But it is Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, WrestleMania 13. What could you say about this? I mean,
amazing, absolutely amazing. I mean, this match was just There's nothing wrong that you could say about it. This solidified Bret Hart's heel turn. This made Austin look immortal in the eyes of the fans when gushing blood and not passing out and not submitting to the sharpshooter. Despite the loss, it made him. I mean, it did a lot for both men, and I believe this won match of the year that year. They won feud of the year. I do know that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these two just worked very well together, and this was definitely hands down better than the first.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the thing was, going into this match, nobody really knew because it was a submission match.
Yeah, and Austin was not doing the $1 million the $1 million maneuver anymore because he gave that up and he wasn't doing submission anymore. So it's like, can he do a submission hold?
Yeah, and I remember at this point we don't know you could win just by somebody just passing out. So we think that you actually have to say I quit. So you didn't know what the hell Austin was going to do, and you were like, he doesn't have a submission maneuver. So,
and I've never in a million years will he say the words I quit.
Right, exactly. So this is when Austin was starting to pick up a lot of steam.
Mm-hmm.
Going into it, going into this match, I didn't expect it to be what it was. Like I'm like, well, we already saw this feud. Why are they feuding again? Bret felt the same way. He was upset because this was supposed to be Bret versus Shawn in the rematch, but Shawn lost a smile. So they end up having this match, and they tore the house down. It's considered one of the greatest matches of all time.
I'm glad we got what we got.
Yeah, I mean, all things considered, yeah,
because this ultimately made Steve Austin. Two things made Steve Austin: King of the Ring, WrestleMania 13.
Yeah, they did a double turn.
Mm-hmm.
Ken Shamrock is the special guest. Special guest.
I love how he just tosses Bret and he's getting ready, and I'm like,
it's great.
Oh, go at him, Bret, go at him.
Yeah, it was just a great match, man. Legendary. Yes. And now for our number one. This is WrestleMania 10, the opening match, Bret Hart versus Owen Hart.
I'll give it. I'll say that's one, and the other one's two, definitely.
Yeah, I mean the build up that had been going on for months. I guess it started during Survivor Series, right? That was the initial Survivor Series '93.
It kind of started. Yeah, you could say it was around there.
It was there.
I mean,
Bret hit him by
Hart,
accident. Bret bumps him by accident.
Yeah. Well, even before.
Oh, he's on the ropes. No, Bret is walking on the apron.
Yeah.
And Owen.
And he runs into him. But even before that, I mean, Bret Hart had gotten the title shot against Yokozuna on Monday Night Raw, and Owen came down and was celebrating a little too soon, distracting his brother, and he got the loss. So you can kind of say, and that was on two occasions. The other one was on Superstars that happened. So you can kind of say they were starting to put the groundwork into it. Mm-hmm. And then Survivor Series was just, that was it.
Because Owen actually got really angry.
Irate. Yeah. He was the only one eliminated.
He was,
and I don't know about you, but I did not like Bret Hart's outfit in that one.
No,
they all had the black short.
I think,
and he has the pink, and he wears the pink, but not the short. I didn't like the outfit.
I think Bret maybe Bret just wanted to stand out from everybody else. Maybe.
Well, of course he did. He couldn't. God forbid, he dresses like his brothers.
Yeah. So yeah, but I mean, great build up. That then we went on to the Royal Rumble. Because prior to the Royal Rumble, they had like made up. He's like, I'm not gonna. They made up
right before.
But you can tell during the promos. He's like, and I'm gonna carry us, and Bret, you're gonna be right beside me. Remember that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, I knew it was coming.
You knew it was coming.
Definitely.
All you had to do was tag me. Oh, you had.
And then he kicks out his bad knee at the end of the match and
kicked your leg out of your leg.
And I liked it.
Great build up in the match. I mean, and then you talk about a great technical performance. Like both guys. Awesome match, and
you could say the main event was the opening match.
Yeah, absolutely.
Way better than the main event we got. But.
Yeah. And the thing was, you didn't think that Owen was going to win the match. I
No, I did not think Owen Hart, not with Bret going into a title match later that night, did I think he was going in on a losing streak. And Owen beating him was the shock of the year, in my opinion. I mean, it was just like, oh my God, this just happened.
Yeah, my jaw dropped. My jaw just dropped when he.
Almost.
Almost.
I haven't had an experience like that late until WrestleMania 30 when Undertaker's streak came to an
Oh
end.
yeah.
Those are the only two
Those are the
times
two.
I
Yeah.
went, no.
Hmm.
And I mean, it was just amazing that Owen got the victory on him in the way he did. Even Owen had that look on his face, like, "Wait, I won? Like,
Yeah.
no, are you serious? I won?" It was amazing.
Is that when he had that gob of
Yeah, he had
saliva?
a little thing on it. I'm like, "Oh man, come on,
Yeah.
wipe your
Somebody
mouth."
tell him wipe that off. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. So that's our Bret Hart top 20 countdown. You guys let us know what you think about this list. Bret Hart, I mean, Bret Hart can have like a top 100, probably 100 matches, you know.
Seriously, yes.
The guy never had a bad match. We're gonna be going forward with
Even before I had a
more.
bomb.
Yeah, we're gonna be going forward with more top 10s. You want to let everybody know what's next?
The next one we're going to do is we haven't done his bio yet as an episode, but we're going to put him in on the top 10 now and get the ball rolling. We're going to do the Macho Man Randy Savage top 10 matches of his WWE career. And already in my mind, I already got what number 1 and 2 are. And it's debatable, like yours was with Bret Owen, and then with number 2, they could be interchangeable. So we'll see what we'll see what you guys think about that one. That'll be our next one.
All right. So you guys make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. See you guys soon.
Take care, guys.